It's soup season and I am craving a comforting, creamy soup. So today let's make a keto-friendly Zuppa Tuscana using one of my favorites, KetoChow potato soup. For this Zuppa Tuscana, we're gonna need 1.5 pounds or 24 ounces of a ground pork. I like to buy unseasoned and then season it for myself. I also need 24 ounces of frozen cauliflower florets. That's what I've got right here. We'll need some chicken stock, between 4 and 6 cups worth. So 1/4 to 1.5 quarts. This is only 1 quart. I'll grab more as needed. We're going to need a variety of seasonings: salt, pepper, ground sage, cayenne, oregano, anything else you'd like to add to your sausage. This is going to have a more Italian style flavor profile. So whatever you see fit there. I'm going to use some minced garlic. I'm also going to need some, not minced, but some diced up onion. I've got some heavy cream. I've got the kale right here. This is already chopped for me to make it nice and easy. I'm going to need a little bit of bacon. I plan to crumble this on top as sort of a topping, but if you wanted to put it in the soup, you can certainly do that. And in order to really make this sell the whole potato flavor profile, the KetoChow baked potato. I have my big stock pot here on the stove. We're going to do everything in this one pot. Makes it nice and easy on the cleanup side. I have my 24 ounces of ground sausage here. I did squish it all together. I like to buy the unseasoned, like I mentioned, and that means that it's all kind of in little strings. And whenever I cook it like that, it tends to just break apart into tiny little noodle shapes, and I don't care for that. So I squeeze it all together to kind of make it a little bit more of a uniform texture. So whenever I'm browning it, it'll turn into more of a crumble rather than a tiny little rice thickness noodle type situation. Okay, so I'm gonna have that. I'm gonna go ahead and dice up my onion here. I'm gonna go ahead and let this sausage brown up until it's a lovely goldenish color, and the onions are gonna get translucent. The garlic is going to cook through. I wanna make sure to keep breaking up this sausage so that it's not just large, giant chunks of sausage. We want these to be rather small so that they fit nicely on a spoon in this soup and distribute a little more evenly throughout the soup. You can see all of that delicious caramelization happening on the sausage here. That is fantastic flavor. We're ready to add cauliflower. I'm going to add my cauliflower frozen directly into my pot here. Oh man, I lost my stirrer. Oh well, okay, got it out. I'm going to let the cauliflower soften up here in my pot. Once it is soft enough to be able to use this tool to sort of cut through, I'm going to chop these cauliflower pieces into some smaller bites. This way I'm only having to use one pot. Love that. So let's let that steam for just a couple minutes. My cauliflower has been softening and steaming here in this pot for about, 5 minutes or so. And it is getting to the point where I can just almost cut it using my wooden tool here. So that's exciting. I'm going to just work a little bit to get as many of these chunks cut into some bite-sized pieces before I start adding my other ingredients. Now that my cauliflower is broken up, I'm going to add some more seasonings. I've got some oregano, about a tablespoon of that. I have some cayenne pepper here. I find that just a dash or two is all it really takes, but it adds a ton of delicious flavor. I already added some rubbed sage, but I think I'm going to add a touch more just because I think that tastes delicious with sausage. And now I'm going to add in a little more salt. Salt and pepper are always to taste. So I've got the Redmond's salt and then more fresh cracked pepper because that cauliflower will absorb all of the delicious flavor. Next up, I'm going to add in my broth. This is some homemade broth. Feel free to use what you have available. I have about 2 cups of water in my jar that I used for my stock. I'm going to go ahead and mix up my KetoChow baked potato in here. Just gonna get that kind of mixed together so that it doesn't clump up in my hot soup. Pretty easy peasy. Also, look at me saving on dishes yet again. We love that. You can also blend this up with an immersion blender, however you see fit. I do love my immersion blender. I do see some powder, still kind of powdery in there. So let's go ahead, seal the lid, and just give it a shake. All right, should be ready to add. There's still probably going to be a few chunks in there, but it'll all work out just fine and dandy. We're gonna let this sit here and simmer for a little while. Oh, you know what we're forgetting? We're forgetting our chopped kale. Kale is quite the hearty green, so it can stand to be in our soup, marrying flavors together for a long period of time without getting completely slimy and gross. I do not want this soup to boil now that I have added my KetoChow, which does have a milk protein, because I don't want it to get kind of clumpy or weird or start to separate. So I'm going to leave this on kind of a medium-low heat in order for it to simmer and get all delicious. All right, here is what my soup is currently looking like. Because this is such a large pot, it does not fill it very full. But I'm now ready to add my heavy cream, and we're gonna add about half this carton and stir it up and let that get up to temperature before we dip out a serving of this soup for a taste test. This smells amazing. It is nice and hot, and I'm ready to try. That's delicious. The baked potato KetoChow flavor combined with the cauliflower makes you feel like you are getting that potato sensation. It makes a fantastic potato replacement on a keto-friendly way of life, or even if you're just low carbing, or if you're just trying to get fewer starches in your diet, this is a fantastic substitute. And one thing I will say, my family loved it. My kids, they loved it. My husband loved it. So it is a crowd pleaser in this household, and we're gonna gobble this right up. I like adding the crumbled up bacon at the very end rather than leaving it in the actual soup pot to simmer along with everything else. Not because I don't want the flavor of bacon throughout the whole soup, but because I prefer the texture of the bacon crumbles when they're just added on top at the end. So you're still getting all of that bacony goodness, but you're also getting a little bit of that crunch still before it gets, fully incorporated into the soup. If you would prefer to put it into the soup pot to simmer away and get all that delicious umami flavor throughout the soup, you're more than welcome to do that. I'm gonna go finish this. And in the meantime, I have another baked potato keto chow recipe for you right over here using cauliflower. You don't wanna miss it.